Coming up on RNE TV, Election Day is Tuesday, and the South Carolina State Superintendent of Education is on the ballot. How are the candidates different?
Plus, we unpack the changes in the dress code, going to the school board's decision, and we learn more about how education is different in America. For this episode of Behind the Apple, get ready with RNE TV starts now. Hey Cavs, I'm Layla Price, and today's November 3rd, 2022. I know the show looks a little different. The RNE TV Live studio is currently closed because of construction on the exterior of the building and updates to the courtyard. We have to be back in studio by January, but until then, we've taken over Mr. Chambers' classroom to bring you this month's top stories. First up, Tuesday isn't just a free day off from school, it's Election Day. Many of the class of 2023 are eligible to vote in the midterm election. There is more on the ballot than just the governor. RNE TV Live reporter Lillian Rosevich breaks down the South Carolina Superintendent of Education race.
Voters in South Carolina are heading to the polls to choose between candidates for the South Carolina State Superintendent of Education. Two of the candidates going head-to-head are Lisa Ellis and Ellen Weaver. The two candidates are very different.
The upcoming superintendent election is important. What matters to me is that we have a candidate and an upcoming superintendent who is in touch with how teachers are affected in the classrooms.
The election is very important. The thing we want to look for is how are we going to educate the future and how are we going to handle school safety.
Ellen Weaver, the Republican candidate and former chair of the South Carolina Education Oversight Committee, focuses on three pillars: flexibility, responsibility, and fairness. She supports education savings accounts, where money would follow the child. This includes private school tuition support. According to quarterly earning reports, many of Weaver's campaign donors are out of state and donate larger amounts of money compared to her opponents. Lisa Ellis is the Democratic candidate and is the founder of SC for Ed, an organization that looks to improve the education system in South Carolina. She is running a grassroots campaign consisting of few employees and relying mostly on volunteers.
So a lot of the grassroots campaign comes from our volunteer supporters who maybe have never been involved in politics before, never really cared enough about a campaign to get involved, but Lisa is the candidate that speaks to them. Public education is the issue that means a lot to them.
Many of her donations are smaller. According to the last quarterly reports, 40% of Ellis's donors are educators compared to roughly 4% of Weaver's donors.
You know, we don't make a lot of money, so for them to have that faith in me to donate money has been really great.
Ellis supports fully funding public education, which includes providing supports she feels students need. This includes supporting school staff with mental health professionals, social workers, and school nurses, as well as making sure that special education programs are fully staffed and supported.
And, you know, when you think about all of the other issues that we're dealing with, they boil down to not having those adults in the building.
There is one big difference between Ellis and Weaver: experience in the classroom. Ellis is a public school teacher at Blythewood High School, the school right behind me. She has 22 years of experience in the classroom. Weaver has no experience in the classroom, though she does have years of business experience.
The race this year is a critical race. You know, my opponent and I feel very differently about the direction of public school system, and so people need to really pay attention to the nuts and bolts and what we believe, and, you know, fight for public education.
Ella says that her experience in the classroom has motivated her.
You know, I hope that I can take that understanding of how schools work and take it up to a policy level.
The election is November 8th, and we do not have school that day. Hit the polls if you are registered to vote. We reached out to Weaver multiple times but received no response. Reporting for RNE TV Live, I'm Lillian Morosevich.
Thanks Thanks, Lillian. If you're eligible to vote, don't forget to take your photo ID with you to your polling station. You can find more details at scvotes.gov. Hispanic Heritage Month was September 15th to October 15th. RNE hosted a Hispanic Heritage Month Assembly on October 14th in the gym. The celebration included a parade of flags, local dancers in traditional Hispanic fashion, vocalists singing traditional music, and more.
It's important to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month because we're celebrating our culture, where we come from, and be proud of our ancestors and basically our culture.
No, not really, because I know a little bit of Spanish and it was easier, but the only thing that I had to struggle with was learning the lyrics and trying to hit like the note very good.
At the homecoming game against Lugoff Elgin, student government held the homecoming court crowning during halftime. The two final contestants for homecoming prince, princess, king, and queen were announced while being escorted down the field by a person of their choice. After being announced as the winner, they were given a bouquet of flowers, a sash, and were crowned. The winner for princess was Stephanie Garcia, the prince was Cordell Brown, the queen was Carolina Silva, and the king was Alan McDuffie.
I decided to run because I was nominated and I felt the need that I should be known.
Excitement, a lot of excitement. I knew I had it in the bag.
I was very emotionally excited, and my girlfriend was right beside me, so felt very happy.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who chose me, picked me, helped me get some votes out. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Aside from the vast construction on the campus, this year started with a brand new dress code. The dress code reduced the requirements and addressed students' complaints about how they felt the former dress code targeted certain populations. RNE TV reporter LaDeja Williams spoke to the school board about the decision.
Last year, policies regarding the district dress code caused controversy across the board. Students throughout the district started petitions and spoke out about their personal experiences with being dress coded.
I felt restricted in what I could wear. Like I said, whenever I wore shorts, even if they weren't short shorts, I was just always told I could never wear them, and I felt like it just made me more uncomfortable going to school.
Now some of these policies have changed. Prior to this school year, the Richland 2 District School Board approved a new dress code that promotes flexibility in clothing styles and less disciplinary action. Students can now wear hats, head coverings, spaghetti straps, and shorts and skirts that were shorter than fingertip length.
But it really does open up more opportunities for folks to find current trends in clothing and things that are more comfortable.
According to student data from Richland School District 2, statistics show that Black and African American students were dress coded at a higher rate than any other minority group. In the 2021 to 2022 school year, however, the number of African American and Black students being dress coded nearly doubled, especially among Black male students.
When I had my hair last year, a few of the admin were a bit iffy about me having my pick in my hair, and I feel like that specifically was just something for me because I saw a lot of people with picks in their hair. It was just me, so.
Because of these ongoing issues, several students within the district voiced their opinions and took action. In fact, Ridgeview High School student Catherine Milborn even went to the board meeting to voice her concerns regarding the previous dress code policies.
People were taking advantages of their positions of power to insult and look down on young women, especially of where teachers were coming forward and telling girls that they had no respect or that they were whores, that they deserved what happened to them, which just furthermore fed into that culture of, it's a woman's fault.
So it's hard to please everyone. There's always going to be folks on both sides and want to certainly respect all of the opinions and thoughts on it.
Aside from students, a lot of our administration here at RNE feel that the district relaxing its dress code policy has put less stress on them having to enforce the dress code to students.
Just day-to-day operations, I think, we enjoy it. It's something we don't have to talk about anymore. It seems like that was a lot of our dialogue versus just truly talking to students.
The changes to the dress code policy will remain in effect for the remainder of the school year and will be reevaluated by the school board afterward in case any changes need to be implemented. Reporting for RNE TV Live, I'm LaDeja Williams.
Thanks, LaDeja. You can view the complete dress code on the Richland 2 website. Coming up after the break, we have the final fall sport updates, and we go behind the apple with a new international math teacher.
Yeah, I think I'm all for it because I feel like it's better for every student at the school and they get to express themselves through what they wear instead of not being able to show off their style and aesthetic and stuff like that.
Yes, I do think that the dress code is fair for all students. Last year we did have problems with it being targeted towards girls, but this year I think that it's for both genders, don't show too much as a girl, but at the same time, boys can't show too much either.
It's because people get to express how they style, all that stuff like that, how I wear my clothes.
Yeah, I feel like the new dress code is fair and it allows students with different body types to, express themselves differently and openly now.
Yeah, because last year it wasn't really that good, especially for the girls, but I don't really be dressing up type of way for them to dress code me.
Everybody feel better now, you know what I'm saying? You gotta feel a little bit more free, you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Can I please get everyone's attention for a few minutes, please? Yes, including you on your phone. Yeah, you. Pay attention. We have something important to talk about. According to Mental Health America, Latinos are estimated to make up 18.3% of the U.S. population. Of that demographic, 16% of Latinos reporting suffering from mental illness. That is more than 10 million people. Why, some asked? Well, in most countries in Latin America, mental illness is still seen as taboo, and systemic barriers make it difficult for communities to get help. One of those systemic barriers is citizenship. During Obama's first 3 years in office, his administration deported 1.18 million undocumented immigrants. In 2012, he alone deported 400,000 immigrants. This increased the chances of immigrants to experience trauma such as exploitation, violence, or separation from their families. While the Trump administration only deported less than 300,000 immigrants, his anti-immigrant sentiment led to a rise of white nationalism and mistreatment against Latinos. They are often seen as criminals or bad hombres, and as a result, they lose their sense of identity, experience isolation, and avoid seeking help for fear of deportation.
How many drugs have I dealt?
Ahora, imagínate que el español es el único idioma que sabes. Muchos latinos que buscan ayuda no encuentran que ese es el caso. Los servicios psiquiátricos reportaron que entre 2014 y 2019, el porcentaje de servicios de salud mental ofrecido en español bajó 18%. Esto hizo que cerraran varios centros de salud mental en los Estados Unidos. Con el crecimiento de la población latina proyectada a crecer 25%, su alta demanda de servicios de salud mental sigue siendo baja. Esto genera otra pregunta, ¿por qué? Bueno, la respuesta es que no hay suficientes terapeutas para ayudar a los pacientes que no hablan español. La Asociación Psicológica Americana informa que 7% de los psicólogos se identifican latinos y 5% de los terapeutas pueden ofrecer servicios en español. There are more issues than the legal status of an undocumented immigrant, or the injustice Latinos endure, or even the language barrier. It happens in our homes too. In a Latino household, children whose parents are immigrants are likely to experience generational trauma. It is trauma that is passed down through generations. Second-generation Latinos often struggle to overcome the cultural differences between the U.S. and their family's culture. At a young age, they were obliged to act as a parent to their parents or siblings, such as translating for them. This is called parentification, and it can cause a child to have trouble setting boundaries or forming healthy relationships. But it doesn't always have to be like this. We, the new generation, have the power to change this. We can achieve this by prioritizing mental health in the Latino community and standing up for what's right. Reporting for RNE TV Live, I'm Evan Kano.
Welcome back. Most fall sports have wrapped up their seasons. RNE TV reporter Sam Wise is here with a new edition of Sports 360.
Welcome to this edition of Sports 360. I'm Sam Weiss. Fall sports have come to an end, but let's dive right into the pool. The swim team traveled to Dreher for their last match of the regular season. Hurricane Ian impacted the state qualifiers, effectively canceling the match, meaning no Cavs qualified for state this year.
I think it's been really good. We've had some really good meets. Everyone's pretty much shaved off time in each of their meets. I know I've had one swimmer that shaved off like a whole 17 seconds, so.
Heading to the court, the volleyball team traveled to Westwood for their last match of the season on October 13th. The Cavs fell to the Red Hawks with a final score of 3-0. Their final record is 3-15. After a strong playoff run to the semifinals last spring, the boys' volleyball season was moved down to the fall. The Cavs finished the year with a 4-5 record in just their second season. Heading outside, the cross-country team traveled to Westwood and participated in the Region 5 4A meet on Wednesday, October 26th. Dee Famude and Jackson Batet finished in the top 15 for the boys, running just over 18 minutes. 8th grader Danny Vandenberg finished 21st for the girls. They'll compete in the state qualifiers next Saturday, November 5th.
I felt it went pretty good. It got a season best, so I'm pretty happy with that, especially because it's the last race of the year. I tried to leave it all out there, and I think I did, so I'm pretty happy with my performance.
Moving on to the field, the football team hosted Irmo on Thursday, September 30th, after the game was moved due to Hurricane Ian. The Yellow Jackets started out strong, running in 2 touchdowns by the middle of the second quarter. Quarterback Will Wilson ran in for a touchdown, bringing the Cavs within 1 score before halftime. The Cavs defense held strong, shutting down the Irmo offense and forcing multiple turnovers in the second half. Wide receiver Zachary Watkins caught a touchdown pass from Will Wilson, tying up the game, entering the 4th. Wilson sealed the deal with a 50-yard touchdown run, finishing off the number 2 seed Yellow Jackets with a final score of 20-14. Well, that wraps up this edition of Sports 360. Remember to follow @Cavflex on Twitter for the latest updates and scores. Reporting for RNE TV, I'm Sam Weiss.
On Friday, RNE varsity football fell to Westwood with a final score of 21-19, giving them the 15th seed in the 4A bracket. However, Ridgeview received word from the South Carolina High School League that their wins are forfeited due to player ineligibility issues. This means RNE's in the playoffs. They travel to South Florence High School tomorrow for the first round. Moving from the gridiron to the classroom, there is no secret that South Carolina is facing a teacher shortage. One way South Carolina has faced this obstacle is by hiring international teachers. One of our new math teachers is from the Philippines, and we feature her with a new edition of Behind the Apple.
Put on the first one.
Whether from a foreign country or a hometown, every teacher has a unique story and reason why they're here at RNE. And Behind the Apple, we'll take a closer look into the lives of the teachers we see every day.
In all honesty, I didn't want to be a teacher. But when I was applying for college, they offer a lot of scholarships if you want to be a teacher.
After graduating from a state college, Ms. Mariano began pursuing her career in education.
The differences in teaching here and back in the Philippines is mainly the technology.
That part here, that's the end of my 2A.
That's what I do with my classroom. I make sure that my classroom is a prepared environment. Like my students have everything that they need. If you visit my classroom, if you see it, it's full of notes or word walls that could help you.
After only a couple of weeks, Ms. Mariano has already connected with a good group of people.
Especially my math department, PIPs, they're very, very helpful. They share all of their resources, and whatever I need, they're just a phone call or an email away. And even the kids, I did not feel like I'm from another part of the world.
Each teacher has their own story, and they all deserve to be told. Reporting for RNE TV Live, I'm Sam Weiss.
If you have a teacher we should feature on the next edition of Behind the Apple, email us at morningnewsshow@gmail.com. You can also tweet us at RNE Saber. If you would like to rewatch this episode or find out more information about RNE, check out the online newspaper at thesaber.org. Thank you for checking out this edition of RNE TV. We'll be back with more stories next month. Reporting for RNE TV, I'm Layla Price. We close today's show with a recap of our first pep rally. Remember, it's a great day to be a Cavalier.